Today we take to the road, headed up to the New River Gorge in West Virginia for a story about two men's different views on how life should be lived in a coal town, as evidenced by a hotel built along the New River. Hello folks, I'm Steve Gilley, and this is Stories, a History of Appalachia. The town of Thurmond was named for William Dabney Thurmond, who moved to this secluded mountainous part of Virginia from Amherst County in 1844. After serving as a captain in the Confederate Army with his own company, Thurmond's Raiders, Thurmond took a job surveying land for the companies being set up to mine coal in the area. As payment for his surveying, he was given 73 acres along the New River, on which he established the town named after him. He was sure the coal companies would bring in money and families to his new town. Thurmond got its post office in 1888. It would remain there until it was discontinued in 1995. The town was officially incorporated in 1900. The C&O Railroad was fully built through the New River Gorge by early 1873, with the railroad itself becoming Thurmond's main street. By the 1880s, a dozen mines were shipping coal through Thurmond, and in 1891, W.C. Thurmond built a hotel downtown. All appeared to be good for the captain. Only one problem. You see, Captain Thurmond was a strict Baptist and an adherent of sober, clean living. As such, he banned alcohol and sinful activities not only from his new hotel, but from Thurmond itself. And as you can expect, though, where folks live and work, they tend to want to cut loose from time to time. And that's where Tom McKell came in. Thomas Gaylord McKell was a coal baron who obtained 12,500 acres of West Virginia land from his father-in-law as a wedding gift. He built the Kanawha, Glen Jean, and Eastern Railway between Glen Jean, West Virginia, just across the New River from Thurmond, and Deepwater, West Virginia, along the Kanawha River. His railroad connected with the C&O Railroad at Thurmond by way of this bridge across the New River. He was also a competitor with W.C. Thurmond in the banking business as well. McKell owned the New River Bank and Trust, while Thurmond owned the Bank of Thurmond. Mr. McKell was one of those who thought it important to give folks the ability to, as we said earlier, cut loose from time to time. In 1901, he built the Dunglen Hotel at the confluence of the New River and Dunloop Creek, in an area later to be called Ballyhack or Southside, Thurmond's notorious red light district. There, miners would blow off steam with drinking, gambling, and women. Prostitutes and gamblers would ride the train into Thurmond on Saturdays to meet those miners and liberate them from as much of their paychecks as possible. The Dunglen was a 3-story wooden hotel with a double-decker porch on 3 sides and 100 rooms for guests. And it wasn't cheap. Those rooms rented for $2.50 a night, more than a week's wage in the mines at the time. The Dunglen Hotel became a hot spot for those traveling through Thurmond. Fresh seafood was served on fine china, political conventions were held there, bands appeared, and people partied on beer and whiskey. In fact, the Dunglen became known as Little Monte Carlo for its liquor and gambling. Speaking of gambling, the Dunglen Hotel made the record books for having hosted the longest continuous poker game in the world, 14 years, as verified by Ripley's Believe It or Not. Times were good across the river in Glen Jean. Well, until 1914. That year, state prohibition was passed, and with it, the end came swiftly for Southside. The Dunglen ceased being party central and became just another hotel. With New competition from other railroads, the C&O Railroad became less profitable, and money became harder to come by in Thurmond. A fire struck the town in 1922, and those parts of the town that were burned out were not replaced. In 1930, the Dunglen Hotel itself was the victim of an arson which completely destroyed it. And with the Great Depression on, the hotel was not replaced. The Bank of Thurmond went under, and the New River Bank and Trust moved its offices to nearby Oak Hill. Today, the site of the Dunglen Hotel is home to buildings used by the National Park Service and are not open to the public. The waterfront below and in front of the Dunglen is now a small park area and boat launch, with this stone and concrete structure you see possibly all that remains from the Dunglen Hotel. And that, folks, is the story of the Dunglen Hotel, another bit of the history of this place we call home, Appalachia. Thanks for watching. If you like our stories, please go down below, click that subscribe button, ding the bell for notifications, and please give us a thumbs up, okay? So long, everybody.